NASCAR? Do you like A Tribe Called Quest? Well, you gonna love the Urban Conservative.
Do you like manwich and nachos? Well, then you'd love the Urban Conservative.
Do you like guns? Do you like butter? Well, you're gonna love the Urban Conservative.
Yo, what's good, son? You like Pitbull, say? You like solving Sudoku puzzles? Then you gonna love the Urban Conservative.
Hey, buddy, if your car making a sound like this, you might want to get you some power steering fluid and check out the Urban Conservative podcast.
Are you repulsed by the idea of drag queen story time at your local library, but enjoy Carol Baskin TikTok memes? Then you would enjoy the Urban Conservative. Do you want to slap your boss and then go home and make yourself some golden brown pancakes covered in butter and freshly made warm boysenberry syrup? Then you'll love the Urban Conservative. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know what it is. It's a Monday night. We're a little early because guess what, folks? Tonight is the kickoff night of the RNC convention in Milwaukee. As you can see, it is going down. We've got Mark Robinson and so many other people in the building right now. They've got a young man up there singing. I'm not too much into the country music, but they're having it looks like a fantastic time up there in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. If you haven't done so already, we need you to go to tuconservative.com, share the website, share this video. We're going to be covering the RNC convention tonight. We're also going to be talking about what went down in Pennsylvania. We've got some new updates. If you've been living under a rock, then you would not know that President Trump has announced that Senator J.D. Vance will be his running mate. So it looks like we've got a Trump-Vance 24 ticket. Kind of Trump-Pence reminiscent. Vance-Pence, kind of the same thing. I've got a lot of folks that are very happy about his pick. What was interesting was J.D. Vance was what some would consider to be a never-Trumper. Now completely on board as the vice president. I think a very interesting pick in that Vance is 39 years old, relatively young guy, one of the youngest vice presidential picks and potentially youngest vice presidents in history. I think that sets Republicans up for someone that can viably run in 2028 for the presidency. So I think a little bit of long-term strategic thinking there. I also think that given the Republicans' new platform that just came out, I think a smart move in putting somebody young in there, somebody that can help win in the northwestern parts of the country, somebody that can appeal to the more rural voters. I think someone who has done a great job, the Hillbilly Elegy book, etc. So again, they've got performances, more speakers coming up at the RNC tonight. We've got an amazing delegation from North Carolina out there. Shouts out to all of our North Carolina delegation that's in the building. And I think we're going to have a very interesting convention. Donald Trump officially the Republican nominee for president. Right now, they're enjoying some entertainment at the RNC. We don't want to get flagged. You know, they're always flagging for the musical stuff. So we're going to not do that. We're going to not get ourselves flagged. And, you know, we'll wait until the music is done. But I've already seen several people we know from across the country in that video. They've got the North Carolina delegation, Alabama delegation. Looks like they're having, like I said, a fantastic time at the RNC convention. So we're going to keep our eyes on it. A couple of interesting things that have happened along the lines with the Trump shooting. Obviously, they found out who the young man was. Still a lot of questions to be answered about how that actually happened. Videos coming out with people kind of pointing out where the shooter was to law enforcement. So a lot to be answered, a lot of questions to be answered about what happened in Pennsylvania. Thank gosh, Trump is doing well, recovering. He actually made an announcement on Truth Social that he will not delay his trip to the RNC. He is instead going to continue on to the RNC, which is a great thing for the country. I think a great thing for our politics. I think that, again, once we find out more, and I don't know how much they are going to give the American people, that is the question. What will we be able to find out about what was going on in this young man's mind? Obviously, explosives found at his house. This doesn't appear to be something that was done on a whim. So we definitely want to be mindful of that. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we're looking live at the RNC convention here. It's going down in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I did have an opportunity to go out to Milwaukee for the first presidential debate. Milwaukee's a beautiful city. I think that it was a great pick. I mean, the venue, the Fiserv Arena, absolutely a fantastic venue to host the debate. Packed house there, as you can see, for the RNC convention. And again, we're going to come back. We've got some speakers. I think Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson's going to be speaking. They've got some other speakers lined up, and it looks like the musical performance is winding down here. Whenever you see that drummer face, that tends to mean that the musical performance is winding down. So again, ladies and gentlemen, we're looking live at the RNC convention. It's going down Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We're going to talk about that and so much more tonight on the Urban Conservative Podcast. If you haven't done so already, again, tuconservative.com is the website. You can go to support what we do, our mission to share conservative values and principles and the benefits of conservative policies to urban communities across this great nation of ours. You can follow us everywhere at TUC Twins. As well, yours truly running for U.S. House District 12. Would definitely appreciate all the support. You don't have to live in Charlotte, North Carolina to support my run for U.S. House District 12. We are taking on the Hat Lady. Alma Adams, her claim to fame is hats. I think we can do better than that. Again, tuconservative.com, aliforcongress.com are the websites you can go to support yours truly running for U.S. House District 12. Now, as you can see, they are having a fantastic time. One thing I want to point out, and I think it's an interesting thing. I see my man Jesse Knight down there. So many people we know down there from the North Carolina delegation. One thing I want people to recognize, and the mainstream media is not going to give the Republican Party the props it deserves for this, but that is a diverse group of people right there. You're seeing Black Americans, Asian Americans, people from every walk of life. I know personally the North Carolina delegation is among one of the most diverse that's up there. We've got Black, Hispanic, Republicans from every stripe of life. I want to give also a big shout out to Annette Albright, who is going to be speaking at the RNC. Shouts out to Brooke Weiss and Moms for Liberty. She's going to be talking about education and happened to be one of the folks that ran for school board in the city of Charlotte. African-American female, was accused by the Democrats of being in the Republicans' pockets. She gave a great interview, and she's going to be talking there. I know they've got Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson going to be speaking. Trump will be speaking Thursday night, I believe. But again, the RNC is going on live. We're going to bring the sound in once the musical performance is done, so we don't get a flag here because YouTube and everything else are very sensitive about conservative media outlets. Make sure that you're following along with us on our Rumble channel as well. You can find us there, TUC Twins. You can find us on YouTube and anywhere you listen to podcasts. Folks, looks like they are having a fantastic time there. A lot coming out this week about what happened up there in Pennsylvania. I know they're going to find out. They're going to have hearings. But what we do know right now is that this was a 20-year-old man that did this. So we're going to go live back to the RNC convention here. Let's take a listen, see what they got going on. Hold on a second. Let me get some volume back on this. All right, Marjorie Taylor Greene, let's go.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Today is a celebration. The American spirit is alive and well. And we have once again nominated for president the founding father of the America First movement, Donald John Trump. Unfortunately, this is also a somber moment for our nation. 2 days ago, evil came for the man we admire and love so much. I thank God that his hand was on President Trump. And I pray for the family of Corey Comparator, who was killed at the rally, and for other attendees who were wounded. Corey embodied the spirit of America First. He displayed the ultimate show of love when he shielded his wife and daughter, sacrificing his own life. He reminded America of what we must be, a people who will do whatever it takes to defend the people and the nation that we love.
That's Kay Wilt, president of the North Carolina Federation of Republican Women.
We will honor Corey's memory by building the country he wanted, the country he wanted for his children, and a government worthy of the American people. For far too long, the establishment in Washington has sold us out. They promised unity and delivered division. They promised peace and brought war. They promised normalcy and gave us Transgender Visibility Day on Easter Sunday. And let me state this clearly. There are only two genders. And we are made in God's image. Amen. And we won't shy away from speaking that simple truth ever. The Democrats ripped open our borders and allowed millions of illegal aliens to pour in, driving up the cost of housing and health care while slashing American wages and eliminating jobs. They claim that our economy is thriving, yet hundreds of thousands of American-born workers lost their jobs these past few years. The Democrats' economy is of, by, and for illegal aliens. Our open borders have also unleashed the worst drug crisis in American history. Yet while hundreds of thousands of Americans are suffering, the Democrats spent over $175 billion, your tax dollars, to secure Ukraine's borders. But they tell us the border wall is too expensive. But an American government that serves the interests not of the wealthy, the globalist, or the powerful few, but of all hardworking Americans is within our grasp. Donald Trump has, and he will, make America successful again. He will make us wealthy again. And as God as my witness, he will finally give us the country we deserve. Because Donald John Trump is the leader America deserves. God bless the American people, God bless President Trump, and God bless the United States of America.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you just heard Marjorie Taylor Greene speaking at the RNC convention. A good speech there, I think, right over the plate, nothing a little extreme. I did notice, you know, the man that passed away at the Trump shooting protecting his family. Very, very sad situation. We are unfortunately dealing with a lot of folks who, if you go on social media, you see a lot of hatred being spewed. We issued a statement here at the Urban Conservative, and one of the biggest things we have to keep in mind, folks, is that we can vehemently disagree about policy positions. We can vehemently disagree about what direction we need to be going in as a country, but there is no place. Look at Ryan Choate and some people from the Mecklenburg, North Carolina delegation. That was the past chairwoman of the Wake County Republican Party. You saw there, Donna Williams. But we as a country have to get past this point of allowing violence and extreme rhetoric in our politics. This idea that, and we have plenty of examples of Democrat politicians, anti-vaccine and others talking about when you see people push back against them, just really, really inflammatory rhetoric in our politics. And I think we have to get beyond that. It's really sad to see some of the statements being said on social media by people that are, way, way far to the left. I don't think that that is the mainstream Democrat by far. I think that there are a lot of folks who are on the Democrat Party side who have just recognized that the Democrat Party is just gone way too far to the left. Now, there is some information out about Thomas Matthew Crooks, the young man that was, unfortunately, the person who was shooting at President Trump. Bethel Park, Pennsylvania is where this happened. Investigators believe that Crooks was armed with a semi-automatic AR-15, opened fire at former President Trump while he was addressing the crowd in Butler. The 20-year-old kitchen worker was then, handled by the Secret Service. Neighbors are in shock, seemingly unable to grasp how a quiet young man is now accused in the shooting. And I think accused is a little bit of a loose language. He was definitely the guy who did it. He was from Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, graduated in 2022 from Bethel Park High School, got a $500 prize for math and science. He worked in local nursing home kitchen just a short drive away, where staff members said he passed a background check, raised no concerns. The Community College of Allegheny, or CCAC, confirmed that Crooks attended the school between 2021 and 24, graduated with an associate's degree in engineering. In a statement to the BBC, the college noted that he graduated with high honors and that a review of his record turned up no disciplinary, student conduct, or security-related incidents. So, someone who was likely, and we can't say this for a fact, likely incensed by a lot of the far left rhetoric. One of the interesting things is it turned out to be that he was a registered Republican. Don't know what that has. That's it. That is the bottom line here. And the sad part about this is we're talking about a young man who threw his life away, potentially, that could have been a far worse situation. I'm thankful that I'm not alive at a time where I had to say I witnessed the assassination of a president. I would not want to, for those folks who were around when that happened to JFK and the RFK, I don't want to witness that. And it's just really sad to see, especially folks on social media who are anti-Trump talking about, oh my gosh, you missed, and better luck next time, and all of that kind of evil foolishness. Is actually pretty sad, considering that we have a situation in our country where people are being, by and large, instigated upon with all of the high stress political rhetoric. So we're going to continue. This is again, this is coming from the BBC. This is what they know now about the young man that was found in. State voter records show that he was a registered Republican. He donated $15 to liberal campaign group Act Blue in 2021. He had a membership at a local shooting club, the Clareton Sportsman's Club, for at least a year. The club is in South Pittsburgh and one of the premier shooting facilities in the tri-state area, Ohio and West Virginia. Pennsylvania, Ohio, and West Virginia. It has more than 2,000 members. The club's owner, Bill Salito, told BBC that the shooting was a terrible, terrible thing. Access to the club is tightly controlled with only members inside. And speaking on the condition of anonymity, two officers told AP that Crooks' father bought the weapon at least 6 months ago. So we're not talking about somebody that bought this weapon, got it illegally, all that kind of thing. We're going to hear a bunch of talk from people on the left about why we need to have stricter gun control. This was not an illegal firearm. This was a legally purchased firearm, apparently purchased by the young man's father. Now, the day after the shooting, law enforcement also told CBS that suspicious devices were found in his vehicle. The suspect had a piece of commercially available equipment that appeared capable of initiating the devices. Bomb technicians were called to the scene to secure and investigate the devices. And now they're going to talk a little bit about his motivation. It is clear, I think, what his motivation was. And I don't need to read through this, it's clear what his motivation was. This was an individual that was motivated by hatred. And it's unfortunate that in today's society, we're dealing with people who are more often than not desensitized to violence. Whether you want to blame video games, whether you want to blame, modern media, American media, whatever the case may be, that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a young man that had it in his mind to do something. Now, again, this is going to raise a lot of questions. How did he get up on that roof? Why wasn't that roof secure? How come people were pointing out to law enforcement that he was up on the roof and time went by without any action being taken? There are, folks, a lot of questions that need to be answered about what went on in Pennsylvania. One of the most interesting things is, I dare say, and what I found interesting was Trump's reaction. Give Me My Shoes was interesting. I know there's a lot of people talking about the role that the female Secret Service agent played. I have to tell you, I'm a little discouraged by what I saw. She did look confused, wasn't quite sure how to holster her weapon. There were a lot of things about that just did not sit right with me. And hopefully, through a congressional investigation, the Speaker of the House, people in the Senate will get down to the bottom line of what happened. But, a terrible day for our country. Thank God President Trump wasn't assassinated. I think that would have went far worse. But we've got the RNC convention coming right back up. Y'all don't go nowhere. It's a Monday night. We're on the Urban Conservative Podcast. We'll be right back right after this commercial break. Don't go nowhere.
NASCAR. Do you like a Tribe Called Quest? Well, you gonna love the Urban Conservative.
Do you like manwich and nachos? Well, then you'd love the Urban Conservative.
Do you like guns? Do you like butter? Well, you're gonna love the Urban Conservative.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're back here on the Urban Conservative.
Candidate for governor of North Carolina, Mark Robinson.
Thank you. First and foremost, I want to give thanks to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for giving us my life and health and strength, allowing me to be here and allowing us to live in this blessed and prosperous land. I am Mark Robinson. I am the first black lieutenant governor of North Carolina. And come November, I plan on being the first black governor of North Carolina. But I am not one of the political elite. I grew up poor as the ninth of 10 kids in Greensboro with an alcoholic father who beat my mother. I love to tell you that I graduated from high school, found success, never worried about money again, but I can't. I lost 2 jobs, 2 manufacturing jobs because of NAFTA, which, by the way, Joe Biden voted for. Politicians in D.C. made bad decisions. People like me suffered. I lost my car and my house. I was desperate. But my story isn't unique. A couple of months ago in my travels, I stopped at a gas station. As I was leaving, a man walked out with a beer and he looked very stressed. He got in his car and I could see him holding an envelope. My heart dropped because years ago I held one just like it. It was bankruptcy papers. I could see the fear on his face. And it took me back to lying awake at night with that gnawing worrying, debating which bills weren't going to get paid. Unfortunately, many families today are having that same experience. Under Joe Biden, grocery prices have skyrocketed, and gas has nearly doubled. In North Carolina, factories just like the one I worked at are closing, leaving families feeling hopeless. But there is hope, and I'm proof. My wife and I never gave up. We kept our faith. We worked hard and made it through those tough times. Now I stand before you on the verge of becoming the first black governor of North Carolina. As governor, I will not forget where I came from or the struggles of the people I meet. And you know, there's someone else who will fight just as hard for you, President Donald J. Trump. The brave heart of our time, President Trump, had our economy roaring. Gas was up below $2. Unemployment was at a historic low. People could afford homes. And we had a president who protected manufacturing jobs. Under President Trump, the American dream was alive and well. Under President Trump, there was hope. And we need that now more than ever. So this November, let's select the brave heart of our time, Donald J. Trump, to get our economy back on track, restore the American dream, and make America great again. God bless you all, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Mark Robinson giving them the business, North Carolina's lieutenant governor and next governor for the state of North Carolina. Again, you're looking at the RNC convention live from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Big deal right now to have. President Trump said he is not going to delay his trip to the RNC convention. He's going to go ahead and do it. Announcement today, J.D. Vance will be his running mate. So you've got a Trump Vance 2024 ticket going down. We're going to take a quick commercial break right here on the Urban Conservative Podcast. Y'all don't go nowhere. We're covering the RNC convention live here on the Urban Conservative.
Front the opioid crisis, but it turns out that was just another broken campaign promise. Here's what really happened under Stein's leadership. Drug overdose deaths in North Carolina have more than doubled. In 2021, 4,041 people in North Carolina lost their lives to overdoses, the highest number of overdose deaths in a single year ever in North Carolina. And fentanyl overdose deaths have increased more than 650%. Stein can't be trusted to protect North Carolina's kids and families.
Country illegally cast a ballot. It takes the power of your vote away. Visit onlycitizens.vote to find out how you can contact your legislature and get them to pass a citizens-only voting amendment. Again, visit onlycitizens.vote and defend your right to vote. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're back. It's the Urban Conservative Podcast. It's a Monday night. We are watching the RNC convention live. We're also talking about what went down with Trump. Big news, if you haven't heard, big news about the case in Florida. The documents case is no longer. Now, the interesting thing about that is Jack Smith is his own worst enemy in that regard. You know, that ended up being the situation. So the judge dismissing the case, very interesting dynamic on how that case was dismissed. Again, U.S. District Judge Eileen Cannon dismissed the classified documents case against Trump over the manner in which Special Counsel Jack Smith was appointed. Quote, the superseding indictment is dismissed because Special Counsel Smith's appointment violates the Appointments Clause of the United States Constitution, wrote Cannon, who was appointed to the bench by the former president. She said the Constitution gives only Congress or the president the authority to appoint a special counsel, not the U.S. Attorney General. Very interesting take on that. Smith had contested this argument, and other federal courts had upheld the constitutionality of the special counsel, but Cannon's ruling, even in the likely event of an appeal, adds months to the case. None of the statutes cited as legal authority for the appointment gives the Attorney General broad inferior officer appointing power or bestows upon him the right to appoint a federal officer with the kind of prosecutorial power wielded by special counsel Smith, said Cannon, nor do the special counsel's strained statutory arguments appeal to inconsistent history or reliance of out-of-circuit authority persuade otherwise. Now, truth be told, her opinion closely tracked the reasoning outlined by conservative Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. And now we've got Wesley Hunt coming out. Let's take a listen to that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Texas. Love you. Love you, Texas. A president's greatest responsibility is to protect the American people. And both Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have failed. I'm a military guy. I flew Apaches in Iraq. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I understand that when you're given a mission, you show up, you identify the problem, and you execute. Biden and Harris haven't shown up. They don't seem to understand that they are the problem, and they've shown no empathy or remorse as the American people suffer from their failed leadership. They have imposed what Ronald Reagan called the cruelest tax on the poor, inflation. Today, 65% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck because the dollar is worth less and less every day. Grocery prices have soared. Average Americans are spending $4,300 more on energy bills. But on November the 5th, we, the people, can fix this Democrat disaster. When we can fix this disaster when we re-elect Donald John Trump as president and send him right back to where he belongs, the White House. Under President Trump, American families had more money in their pockets and bank accounts. American families could invest, save, and buy a home. Under President Trump, we had the greatest economy in our lifetime, and in less than 4 years, under Joe Biden, everything changed. Ladies and gentlemen, that is why we must win in November to take our country back. We owe it to future generations to embrace this pivotal moment. I owe it to my two daughters, Victoria and Olivia. I owe it to my 1-year-old little boy, Willie, and I owe it to all American children and their future. I'm the great-great-grandson of a slave. I'm the son of a retired lieutenant colonel. I'm the product of West Point along with my other 2 siblings. And I risked my life in combat to preserve our nation. Now, there's another man who is putting it all on the line to save our nation. His name is President Donald Trump. And with your help in November, and with his unbending resolve, together we will make America great again. God bless you, Milwaukee. May God continue to bless these United States of America. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Congressman Wesley Hunt in the building. All right, now we got John James coming up. Okay, let's go. Let the left tell it they not
Good
black,
evening, Wisconsin. Warmest regards from Detroit, home of the NFC North champion, Detroit Lions. Well, in seriousness, didn't Wesley do a great job? One of my West Point classmates, class of 2004, and there's another Midwestern boy who did a great job, our vice presidential nominee, J.D. Vance. Another Midwestern boy. You know, he's going to need some help when he comes up to Michigan. I'll do everything I can, but he might be the first Buckeye to win in Michigan since last time Trump was in office. But those are two great American dream stories from the Hunt family and from the Vance family, but I have another American dream story to tell you about. It's about a little boy from Starkville, Mississippi, who lived directly across the street from Mississippi State University, but he couldn't go there because he was black. Despite growing up in the Jim Crow South, he refused to let vulnerability become victimhood. He paid his way through college, served honorably in Vietnam, and started a trucking company with one truck, one trailer, and no excuses, hauling beer back and forth between Detroit and Milwaukee. I grew up in awe of that story because it's my dad's story. It's part of my story. He and my mother raised me never telling me that this is a racist country. Never. Never. Even though we have marked blemishes in our past, even though we have much farther to go, even though they endured racism, it did not define the nation they loved. They taught me I could do anything I set my mind to. They taught me to put the Lord first always. They taught me to use my blessings to be a blessing to others. And that's what we're doing here today. That's why I went to West Point. I became a Ranger qualified Apache pilot and flew 750 hours operations in Operation Iraqi Freedom. You know, that's something else me and President Trump have in common. The bad guys shot at us both, but they missed. And we'll keep on fighting for America until the good Lord takes us home. By the grace of God, I was able to come home after my deployment and help run the company business. Now I have the honor of representing Michigan's 10th Congressional District, the #1 manufacturing district in the best state in the entire union. My family's story is the American dream story. But my biggest concern right now, my biggest fear, is will children today be able to look back and share that same story? Look, I firmly believe Americans have not given up on the American dream. Joe Biden and the Democrats have given up on the American dream. Joe Biden and the Democrats think they know how to spend your money better than you do. They want to take your dollars, they want to take your voice, they want to take your control and give it back to DC bureaucrats to execute their woke and Green New Deal agenda. Well, that plan doesn't work because hope is not a plan. Black people were sold on hope. Now our streets are rife with crime. Our kids can't read, and illegals are getting better help from Democrats in 4 days than we've gotten in 400 years. Look, our daughters were sold on hope, and now they're being forced on the playing fields and changing rooms of biological males. America was sold on hope, and now the world's on fire. Our borders are wide open, and Americans are going into debt to pay for their groceries. But look. We don't even have to imagine a brighter day. We just have to remember, under President Donald J. Trump, we had a secure border. Under President Donald J. Trump, we had peace in Europe. And under President Donald J. Trump, we had an economy so good. We had an economy so good, Democrats were trying to give Obama the credit for it. Look, yeah, I heard a little bit earlier today, if you don't vote for Donald Trump, you ain't black. But see, here's the thing. by the grace of God and the proven leadership of Donald Trump, for every American, regardless of race, color, and creed, we can once again have a land where a child's outcome isn't determined by their zip code. We can once again have a land where hard work truly does get you ahead. We can once again have a land where you can go from poverty to prosperity in a single generation. I believe that land is still America. America is the greatest idea that's ever been. America, I believe deeply in my heart, America is the greatest idea that's ever been. It's worth fighting for, it's worth sacrificing for, and it's worth getting out to vote for, because I truly believe in the deepest heart of hearts that with Donald J. Trump back in the White House, the best is yet to come. God bless you. Thank you. God bless America.
All right, y'all. Congressman John James in the building did an amazing job there. I think we've got a real opportunity this cycle to do some amazing things. I think that it's really interesting to see Wesley Hunt, John James, Mark Robinson, so many African Americans, so many Black Americans engaged in the RNC, engaged in the Republican Party. That is a direct contravention, in direct contravention to what the media lays out there, that there are no blacks involved in the GOP. The GOP is the party of old white men, etc. I think that flies directly in the face of what we just saw. So I got to give a big shout out to everybody out at the RNC. We're going to come right back after a quick commercial break. Y'all don't go nowhere. We're watching the RNC live here on the Urban Conservative. Don't go nowhere. Doesn't mean you have to vote Democrat. This year, in order to see benefits for our communities, we need to vote outside the box. Find out more by visiting us at tuconservative.com. This season of the Urban Conservative Podcast is brought to you by Newton for Senate, working to improve education, reduce taxes, and keep North Carolina #1 for business. Find out more at newtonforsenate.com. This episode of the Urban Conservative has also been sponsored by Case Technology Consulting. Help your business get value out of its data and become more efficient and streamlined. Case Technology Consulting. Check out the link in the description. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're back. Urban Conservative Podcast on a Monday night, RNC kickoff night. RNC Chairman Michael Whatley kicked things off. We've heard from Congressman Wesley Hunt, Congressman John James. We've heard from Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson, Marjorie Taylor Greene. So many great folks already speaking at the RNC. So much more to come. Interestingly, in light of the recent events up in Pennsylvania, Trump has decided not to delay his trip to the RNC. Now, I am hoping and praying that we do not have the alleged security lapse that we had in Pennsylvania at the RNC. I'm hoping they keep everybody safe there. I've already reached out to the North Carolina delegation and everybody's doing pretty good there. I think one of the biggest things that we've got to consider at this point is ultimately that this young man was clearly deranged, clearly off his rocker, not doing good. So we're going to go back live to the RNC convention, see what we got going on there, ladies and gentlemen. We're here on the Urban Conservative live on a Monday night watching the RNC. Here we go.
Good evening, Milwaukee. I'm Katie Britt. We are all here tonight for one reason. We need to change the direction of our nation. And Donald Trump is the change we need. To my fellow moms and dads across America, I think we all know that raising a family is hard. Add in smartphones and social media, and we already had plenty to worry about. But then Joe Biden and Kamala Harris came around. Now our lives are that much more difficult and way more expensive. Under Biden-Harris, prices are high and expectations, well, they're low. Grocery prices are up more than 21%. Electricity is up 31%. Gas is up 48%. Mortgage rates have more than doubled, and rent is skyrocketing. To me, these aren't just numbers. This is pain for millions of Americans. It means that so many American families have to live with so much less. This is too high a price to pay for an administration that has brought us to such lows. The American people won't have the wool pulled over our eyes. We see how Biden and Harris keep making things worse. And we know the current president is not capable of turning things around. His weakness is costing us our opportunity, our prosperity, our security, our safety. Each diminished, all in decline, just like the man in the Oval Office. And it doesn't have to be this way. Under President Trump, we had the strongest economy in history. That's right. You didn't need to go into debt just to make ends meet. Energy dominant, stable prices, secure borders, safe streets, strong families and communities. That's what Donald Trump will deliver. With President Trump, the tough choice was which job offer to accept. Now, it's which second job to take just to pay the bills. Your family can't afford this costly and dangerous decline for 4 more years. 4 more years of Biden-Harris will impose a lifetime of financial damage on our children and our nation. It is time to return President Trump to the White House. Yes. Republicans will put parents, families, and hard-working Americans first. With President Trump back in the White House, we will reawaken the exceptionalism of the greatest nation ever known. We will defeat decline, dust off our dreams, and forge our future. Because families across our nation deserve better. Once again, America will be the land of limitless opportunity for all. And paving that path starts today. So let's roll up our sleeves, send President Trump back to the White House, and get America back on track. God bless.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome United States Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina.
Wow. 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 Thank you so much. Thank you. Hello, Milwaukee. Are you ready for 4 more years of Donald Trump? Oh, me too. Listen, if you didn't believe in miracles before Saturday, you better be believing right now. Thank God Almighty that we live in a country that still believes in the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, the Alpha and the Omega. And our God still saves, he still delivers, and he still sets free. Because on Saturday, the devil came to Pennsylvania holding a rifle, but an American lion got back up on his feet and he roared. Oh yeah, he roared. Yeah, yes he did. You see, America, this is a difficult time for our nation. Inflation is crushing families. Illegal immigration is crushing American workers. Failing schools and victimhood culture are crushing our poorest kids. And the weakness of the commander-in-chief has invited world wars all around our world. Joe Biden is asleep at the wheel and we're headed over a cliff. We hear despair in the voices of a millennial couple raising 2 kids in a 1-bedroom apartment because they can't afford a house. We see pain on the faces of Gold Star parents because their commander-in-chief, Joe Biden, literally forgets their son died in uniform on his watch. America, we deserve better. We deserve so much better. I was raised by a single mom in poverty. We had plastic spoons, not silver spoons. But she taught me to work hard, to take responsibility, and reject victimhood. Thank God for my wonderful mama. I know this is going to offend the liberal elites. Every time I say it, it offends them. But let me say it one more time. America is not a racist country. No, we're not. But if you were looking for racism today, you'd find it in cities run by Democrats. Look on the south side of Chicago. Poor black kids trapped in failing schools. Thousands shot every single year, including one of my former interns, Daquan. But there's good news. It's conservative values that restores hope. It's Republican policies
that lifts people up. I partnered with the greatest president of my generation, President Donald J. Trump. On the biggest tax cuts ever for working people and single moms, and opportunity zones for neighborhoods that need them most. But Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, they give illegal immigrants free hotel rooms while our veterans sleep on the streets. Disgusting, disgusting. Trump secured our border once, and Donald Trump will secure it again. This November, we are not deciding simply the fate for the next 4 years. We're setting a course for the next 40 years. I see our heartland filled with huge American factories, powered by abundant American energy, building what America needs, creating generational wealth for blue-collar workers. You see, we are the Republican Party of Frederick Douglass and of Abraham Lincoln, of Ronald Reagan and Donald Trump. But we, 4 more years. I love it. Awesome. We are not simply the party of our leaders. We are also the party of a young woman in Wisconsin taking over her family farm, an Hispanic father working 16-hour days in Nevada, and a black teenager in Philly starving for opportunity. We're not just the grand old party of the past. We are the great opportunity party of America's future. And there's only, hear me clearly, and there's only one person who can make that vision a reality: Donald J. Trump. God bless America.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you just heard Senator Tim Scott, Wesley Hunt, John James, Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson, Marjorie Taylor Greene. So many folks kicking it at the RNC live from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It is an amazing evening. If you haven't heard, J.D. Vance is the Republican vice presidential nominee. Donald Trump making that announcement earlier today. Donald Trump will be at the RNC convention, is slated to speak as well. I gotta stop for a second. So many people have reached out to talk about what happened in Pennsylvania the other day. And look, quite frankly, there's a lot of people who are showing a lot of ugliness out there in regards to what happened to President Trump. And look, there's no place for that, man. And the majority of that hatred is coming from the left. The left in America, and not every Democrat. We're not talking about every single Democrat. There are people who I've talked to in the last week as I've been out campaigning that have said, the Democrat Party has gone a little too far left. But the radical far left in this country is kind of showing their true colors. You see the mainstream media trying to blame Trump for himself getting shot, which is beyond weird. I have no idea how that works. But again, if you don't know, the case against Trump today as well, U.S. District Court Judge Eileen Cannon dismissed the classified documents case against former President Trump over the manner in which Special Counsel Jack Smith was appointed. Now, the interesting thing about that is the argument was made that Merrick Garland really didn't have the authority to appoint a special counsel with that much authority to be investigating the president. He really didn't have that level of authority. And that was the reason for the dismissal of the case. Now, we can show you here. Let's just go ahead and show you this tab real quick while the RNC is on hold. While they're getting their stuff together there at the RNC. But the major thing is the method of the appointment of Jack Smith as the special counsel, as outlined by Judge Cannon, was not properly done. The Attorney General, according to her, does not have the authority. The superseding indictment dismissed because Jack Smith's appointment violates the Appointments Clause of the Constitution. He was appointed to the bench by she was appointed to the bench by the former president. None of the statutes as legal authority for the appointment gives the Attorney General broad inferior officer appointing power or bestows upon him the right to appoint a federal officer with the kind of prosecutorial power wielded by Special Counsel Smith, nor do the special counsel's strange statutory arguments appeals to inconsistent history or reliance on out-of-circuit authority persuade otherwise. Her opinion closely tracked with the reasoning outlined by conservative Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas in a recent concurrence in a separate case against Trump about the immunity situation. So what we're dealing with, ladies and gentlemen, is what we all knew all along. The documents case was a sham, as is the 34 indictment cases in New York, and I think those will be summarily overturned as well. I don't think that the case in Georgia is going to go too much further. This Fani Willis case, there's just been so much lawfare happening in modern politics, and this, I think, is a result of a precedent that Obama and Eric Holder set up. Sue till it's blue. The Soros-funded DAs, etc. So, again, I think we're going to see President Trump win this election in a landslide, not only as a result of what's happening in Pennsylvania, but as a result of the continued lawfare against them. So we are going to be live and direct tomorrow morning here on the Urban Conservative for Top of the Morning. Make sure you join us for that. I do got to give a special shout out to our good friend, Representative Ken Fontenot, who is going to be joining us here on the Urban Conservative. That is not an episode you're going to want to miss if you are in North Carolina. A lot of good stuff to talk about there. We're going to cut it here. Y'all enjoy the rest of your evening. For my twin brother, Raheem Architect Soto, you've been checking out the RNC convention live here on the Urban Conservative Podcast. Y'all have a positive rest of your night. Peace and love, folks.
Front the opioid crisis, but it turns out that was just another broken campaign promise. Here's what really happened under Stein's leadership. Drug overdose deaths in North Carolina have more than doubled. In 2021, 4,041 people in North Carolina lost their lives to overdoses, the highest number of overdose deaths in a single year ever in North Carolina. And fentanyl overdose deaths have increased more than 650%. Stein can't be trusted to protect North Carolina's kids and families.
Country illegally cast a ballot. It takes the power of your vote away. Visit onlycitizens.vote to find out how you can contact your legislature and get them to pass a citizens-only voting amendment. Again, visit onlycitizens.vote and defend your right to vote. Doesn't mean you have to vote Democrat. This year, in order to see benefits for our communities, we need to vote outside the box.